Marvel fans, if you want to know what the hell is going on with the next couple of years of Marvel and what movies are going to be coming out alongside Doomsday and Secret Wars, then you must watch this video. Insiders have just revealed three kind of incredible things. They're all interesting on their own, but when you put all of them together within the context of stuff we've been talking about for the last couple of months, it paints a pretty clear picture of what Marvel's strategy is for the next couple of years leading up to Secret Wars. And a lot of this has to do with a new universe and then another new universe. So we got to talk about Blade, we got to talk about some wild updates about the Battleworld movies, and then we got to talk about new stuff coming out about Spider-Man 4. Okay, first up, Blade. Now, Blade was just in the news a lot last week because its release date was officially dropped from Marvel's schedule. When this news came out that it was dropped from the schedule, like, people went nuts. Like, a lot of people were like, that movie ain't happening. And yet, just in the past couple of days, Daniel RPK said that Blade is literally still filming next year. Here's what Daniel said on his Patreon. He literally said Blade is set to begin filming in 2025 in the United Kingdom. The film will have a smaller budget and will be very dark, R-rated. So they're working on a new script again. So if Blade is still filming next year, why did Marvel drop it from its release schedule? What the hell's actually going on here? Well, first I want to remind you that a lot of insiders came forward to say that Mahershala Ali is still really satisfied in the direction of Blade. And in fact, in the wake of it being dropped from the release schedule, John Roca of the Hot Mic podcast came out and basically said that a source told him Mahershala Ali is really happy with the direction of Blade. He's still on board. So how does this make sense? Well, it all has to do with the ending of the Multiverse Saga. Right now, Marvel Studios is kind of streamlining the end of the Multiverse Saga, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. But when it comes to Blade, it just is not going to release before Secret Wars. It's going to come out after Secret Wars, but it seems like the actual Blade movie is going to be just a lower budget, R-rated action movie with Blade just fighting a bunch of vampires. So they feel comfortable in their ability to actually get that together before next year and go shoot that thing next year. Maybe it's late next year. So the movie's still on track to film and be ready to release within the next couple of years, but Marvel Studios just wants to get through the Multiverse Saga and then release Blade in a new MCU universe. And I actually think in addition to them shooting a lower budget Blade, they're also going to start doing Midnight Suns. We got reports from Daniel RPK within the last month that Marvel Studios is streamlining the Midnight Suns film. And it's been reported out there that they want to make Mahershala Ali's Blade the Nick Fury of the supernatural side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that is probably why Mahershala Ali is still into being Blade and why he hasn't become frustrated or disenchanted with the process. I believe Kevin Feige knows he didn't do right by Mahershala within the last couple of years, but obviously there's been a lot of stuff going wrong for Marvel. And so what I think they're doing is setting up a plan, getting one movie kind of like in the tank and ready to go, and then possibly even go right into filming the Midnight Suns film so that after Secret Wars, this is a big franchise that will be given to audiences as like a big draw for the new MCU. Next up, we got to talk about this report from Daniel RPK that Marvel Studios is pausing all projects to fast track the end of the Multiverse Saga.
Why?
Only Spider-Man 4 and a mystery film will be released before the next Avengers movie. Everything else is on hold until after Secret Wars. And this, of course, makes everything we just talked about with Blade make a little bit more sense. Now, it's important to note, pausing just means they're not committing to a release date. It doesn't mean they're going to stop production. Obviously, if they film Blade next year, they're technically not pausing it, but that's why it was removed from the schedule. They're not committed to a release date of anything until they wrap up the Multiversal Saga. This is actually a really telling piece of information. It brings clarity to something that we've been talking about for the past couple of months, mostly the Battleworld films. And I had originally hoped that we would get several Battleworld projects. I thought after Doomsday, Dr. Doom's either going to create a new universe or Battleworld. And to me, it just feels like this is the perfect opportunity to finally have the actual multiversal fun that we could be having this whole saga and having it in the space between the two Avengers movies. We just talked about in a video over the weekend that there are two mystery dates, one right before Secret Wars and then one before Doomsday. I had originally thought maybe you would get 2 movies there. Maybe Doctor Strange 3 comes out right before Doomsday, and then you have an X-Men Battleworld movie happening right before Secret Wars. But according to this report from Daniel, that's not the case. Marvel Studios is only working on Avengers Doomsday, Spider-Man 4, and Secret Wars, and one other mystery project. And so we have the movies coming out next year, right? You're going to have Captain America 4, you're going to have the Fantastic Four, then you're going to have Thunderbolts, then you've got the potential of a mystery movie before Doomsday, then you have Spider-Man 4 that summer, then there's nothing else until Secret Wars. Now, at this point, I'm convinced that the mystery project here is Doctor Strange 3, and it will either have to be streamlined into production and go really quickly so that it can make a release before Doomsday, or they will potentially make a Battleworld movie with Doctor Strange 3 that kind of explains his relationship with Doctor Doom. Now, this next part's speculation, but my gut is telling me that Doctor Strange 3 will actually come out before Doomsday. But if that is to happen, we're going to get news very, very soon that Doctor Strange 3 is going into production and it will be filming next year. Now, I just want to say this is kind of disappointing. I did want more multiversal stuff in between these 2 movies, and I felt like we could have had a lot of fun, built up character moments, and played with all the multiversal toys, and really just kind of expanded on the promise that is a Secret Wars. But according to Daniel, Marvel wants to kind of streamline to the end of the Multiverse Saga. I think they realize that there is serious fatigue with some of these concepts, that basically fans are a little bit over a lot of the multiversal stuff. Not me. I actually think it's cool. I'm still loving it all, but it seems like a wider and wider group of the big audience doesn't really love it. And it very clearly seems like Marvel Studios just wants to get to their new universe, which will be soft rebooted. You'll have the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the X-Men, the Avengers, everybody in one singular universe. And they really want to focus on the X-Men and the mutants, which, I mean, if X-Men 97 and Deadpool and Wolverine is any kind of an indication, that's a really smart freaking idea. So I understand why Marvel is doing this, but I guess it just kind of sucks that we're gonna have to tell this entire multiversal story with just Doctor Strange 3, Spider-Man 4, Doomsday, and then that story will finish in Secret Wars. And look, there's a chance they pull this off and it feels really satisfying, and the next couple of years are really cool, and we're like, oh my god, I can't believe everything that Marvel is doing. But I'm starting to feel like some of you guys that are not down with the RDJ Doctor Doom thing, like, I like RDJ Doctor Doom, I think it's really cool, but it's clear that a lot of people feel like it's just a shift, it's just kind of a gimmick, it doesn't feel earned, and we're not actually like building great story here, we're kind of rushing to the end of this whole situation. And I do kind of feel like that's what's happening with the Battleworld stuff. It's like unfortunate. I'm going to try to keep an open mind here, but man, I would have loved like a Thor 5 Battleworld where he's fighting against like the Dwellers in Darkness, or like, you know, the gods that stand above, or some crazy epic cosmic thing. He's becoming Rune King Thor. They're understanding like eternity and what eternity does and all that. As far as the official reports are out there, there's only going to be 2 projects other than Doomsday and Secret Wars within the next couple of years, closing up the multiversal saga. I gotta know what you think about that. Let me know in the comment section. The last thing we gotta talk about here is Spider-Man 4 news. So Alex Perez over at the Cosmic Circus just put out a theory about what's going on in Spider-Man 4. So I guess we should treat this as just theory, but here's the thing. Like, they are the most accurate scoopers out there. The Cosmic Circus and Alex Perez specifically. They have the most percentage of scoops being correct. So it's hard for me to just ignore all of the possibilities of this being true in their theory. Now, within this large article that essentially amounts to a theory, Alex actually does reference a lot of different news from insiders. He references the long history of reports that this movie was supposed to be grounded, and then it slowly became more multiversal. He references new comments from Tom Holland himself, where Tom basically says, one of the things to bear in mind with Marvel is that your film is a small cog in a large machine, and that machine has got to keep running. And you need to make sure you can fit into that timeline at the right time to benefit the bigger picture. That's one of the challenges we're facing. The time in which we need to get that done is a tall order, but achievable with the fantastic people we have working on it now. Alex also notes in his article that all evidence points to the next time we will see Tom Holland's Spider-Man actually being in Avengers Doomsday and not Spider-Man 4. Now, this report was actually confirmed last week in the Hollywood trades, where they reported that the official release date for Spider-Man 4 is July 24th of 2026. And there was technically a possibility that this would actually be a prequel, but a lot of scoopers have shot that down, and Alex confirms that that is not what they are going to do. Alex goes on to talk about the various reports that Peter Parker and Dr. Doom are going to have a lot of interactions in Doomsday. Alex then offers up the theory that perhaps Peter, after No Way Home, will end up being lonely and feel like he's not living his life. And that, of course, is actually true. He lost his friends. Nobody knows who Peter Parker is. He's all alone. Alex then suggests, what if Dr. Doom allows Peter Parker the opportunity to undo that spell and go back to a quote-unquote normal life? Alex then makes mention of all the weird casting rumors that are going on for Spider-Man 4. This includes college roommates for Peter Parker, a new female lead, but also Zendaya, the guy that plays Ned, and even Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. himself as Dr. Doom. All of those characters are rumored by very reliable insiders to be a part of the Spider-Man 4 plot. And so Alex is suggesting that given the vulnerable state that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is in after No Way Home, and given the plan and the intentions that RDJ's Dr. Doom has, which is basically to eliminate the multiverse and have a singular universe that he can then control in order to protect everybody, well, one way to do that would be to reshape the 616 reality, reshape the sacred timeline, but as opposed to making this into some weird version of reality or a battle world where only certain characters are around, it seems like what's going on here is Dr. Doom is just making a new version of 616. Within this new version of 616, Peter will have his old life back. He's going to have villains like Vulture, which is why Michael Keaton is just reportedly in the film. He's going to have his aunt back, which is why Marissa Tomei is in the film. He's going to have his friend back. He's going to have his girlfriend back. He's going to have his whole life back and be living in this new version of reality. And so again, this is just a theory from Alex, but it's a theory that he's crafted based on a lot of actual reports and information. It's actually very similar to the things I've been saying in videos from the past couple of weeks. So considering everything that we know, it really does seem like RDJ's Dr. Doom is going to reforge the 616, create a new timeline, and that will be a timeline where Peter Parker's aunt is back, he's with his friends, everybody knows who Peter Parker is again, but it will be a false reality, something that's created by Doom that's not real. And so Peter is going to be riddled with guilt about doing this thing, making this selfish decision, and he might even feel weird about it because Iron Man is not a part of this new universe. At least I don't think Iron Man will be a part of this new universe. So it seems like the plot of Spider-Man 4 will see a new universe where he's just Spider-Man, but maybe this is how you bring Eddie Brock into this thing, because maybe Tom Hardy is just Eddie Brock in this new universe. And maybe the way we get to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield is that they will have already been recruited in the same way that Deadpool was going to be recruited. Because if you remember, he's being taken away from a universe and saved to go to the sacred timeline because the TVA knows all these other universes are going to be destroyed. So then you'd have the Spider Boys coming into this main reality with Tom Holland and trying to convince him to undo this reality, to help him to undo his selfish decision and defeat Dr. Doom to restore the multiverse back to its original form. So to bring this whole thing home and to just kind of explain how all of this stuff works together, it seems like Marvel has some big plans for the post-Secret Wars MCU reboot. This is where Blade is being pushed to. This is where the Scarlet Witch movie is being pushed to. This is where Thor 5 is being pushed to. A ton of stories are being pushed to the soft rebooted MCU. And while that is happening, Marvel is building 4 big movies, which will be the end of its multiversal saga. Those 4 movies will be Secret Wars, which will be the culmination and the finale. Then you're going to have Spider-Man 4, which is going to be sort of a set up to Secret Wars. Then you're going to have Avengers Doomsday, which is going to set this whole thing off. And then you're going to have Doctor Strange 3. Now, we don't know if Doctor Strange 3 will come out before Doomsday. I'm leaning in that direction. It's technically possible that Doctor Strange 3 would happen after Spider-Man 4 and maybe connect to it. But that's what the news is telling us is happening. That's what the insiders are hinting at. So I wanted to bring that information to you. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. So let me know in the comment section below. And as I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video.